Now, as for why Colin finally decided to come forward with the truth after nearly 2 decades, seemingly getting away with double murder, well, he told the investigators that he wanted to, quote, unburden his soul. And as much as I would love to believe that he did finally feel guilty after all of those years, I really think that he only did it out of desperation. Because in 2008, just 1 year before this revelation and this confession, Colin got scammed really, really badly. Now, I have no idea how he got wrapped up in this scam, but he was told that this group of people had found gold in the Philippines and that all he had to do was invest some money and he would get a $40 million payout, which, like, it couldn't have happened to a better guy. I thought that everybody in the world is smarter than these scams, but apparently not. Apparently he fell for it, and, like, God bless that. I am very happy for that. And it sounded crazy. It sounded like a stretch, but Colin was all in. Talk about greed, right? So initially, he invested around $200,000. But then he was told that the gold was buried under tunnels that were booby-trapped and that the group was going to need more money in order to get it. Which, I mean, like, again, you can't help but laugh because this is so insane and this guy is such a little bag that he deserves it. So over the next 6 months, Colin continued sending money to invest in this project. And at one point, he even convinced some of his friends to join in on the investment so they could all get rich off of this. But like I said, they all got scammed, and Colin was left with essentially nothing. Also, the year before that scam, he and Leslie's oldest son, Matthew, tragically died. And what's sad is that Matthew's death alone wasn't really a wake-up call for Colin, but apparently his death, coupled with the scam, was all apparently too much for Colin to handle. He said he felt like God was punishing him for what he had done and for the secrets that he had kept. So now he felt like he had to unburden his own soul for his own sake. Which, I mean, Colin was always selfish, and I don't know if this truly was for those reasons, but maybe. So in November of 2010, he pleaded guilty and he was sentenced to a minimum of 21 years to life. As for Hazel, she attempted to downplay her role in the murders. She blamed everything on Colin and claimed that she was afraid that if she didn't go through with his plan, that he'd kill her and her children. However, that doesn't exactly explain why they stayed together for years after the murders, but, you know, that's besides the point. I digress. Now, during Hazel's trial in 2011, she pleaded not guilty, but the damage had already been done. Because when she had been brought in for questioning and was told that Colin had confessed, she had already done her own fair share of confessing. She confessed that she had heard everything from the other room and that she's the one who got rid of the hose in that fire. And when these interrogation tapes were played in the courtroom for the jurors, I mean, any hopes of her being found not guilty went right out the door. So in 2011, Hazel was convicted of murder under a joint enterprise law, which is something that we really don't see as often in these cases. But essentially, this law allows for multiple people to be held liable for the same crime if they shared a common purpose, even if only one of those people actually did the killing. So she was ultimately sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 18 years. Her team has filed appeal after appeal, but with no luck.